Heaven's California.
Yo guys, what is going on? I'm downstairs because I just have recorded this review and the audio didn't work, so I'm going to have to record it today again. So, Manchester United yesterday went up against Bournemouth and they got ahead with a 1-0 win. Mourinho's man 1-0. Best performer for me yesterday was definitely Luke Shaw, and I gave the team rating an average of 7. There are a couple high performers like Luke Shaw, like Phil Jones, that probably would have got an 8. Lukaku up there obviously scored, so he can't get anything lower than about 7 or 8. Then there are a few performances today where I thought, or yesterday where I thought they could have done a bit better. The likes of Martial was a little bit disappointing for me personally, but that's probably a personal preference. So, how did the game actually happen? What went wrong? What happened? Well, Bournemouth played defensively, as we did expect. They would play defensively. And, you know, we were just a bit stagnant. Obviously, Luke Shaw did play very well. I was very impressed with Luke Shaw. I thought he actually played a good game, you know, first 10-15 minutes. It took him a while to warm up. Then he got into the game, but then we saw about the 60th, 70th minute, he started to get cramps, so he did go off. Will we see him again this weekend? I do not know. Another good performer for me, Shaw and McTominay. You can see him there. He is the third man in from the left there, so he's with Lukaku and Smalling. He played well. The one thing we struggle with when we don't have Pogba is the fact that we don't have a player that can bring the ball up from defence through the midfield and to the attackers. And he did that yesterday, which was really nice to see. Obviously, we're still without Pogba the next game as well, but I have got the match put up on my phone, so we will have a look at a couple of the match reports. A couple of people on Full-Time Devils yesterday saying that, you know, that's Lukaku's best game in the shirt. I wouldn't say it was his best game. It was a good performance from Lukaku. He was definitely more involved in the game, and he didn't celebrate for his goal, which I thought, you know, people were a little bit, is his loyalty with the club? Yes, I think he is loyal to the club. But, you know, he's proven a point. You know, people are saying he can't score and he just scored. But, you know, the poll for today is going to be, is Lukaku worth the money? That I will be up there and it will be in the comment section down below as well. But we'll move on to that a little bit later. Other performers in the team today, you know, Lingard starting the last 5 out of the 6 matches. If there's a player you're going to put out there to give 110%, it's Jesse Lingard. Lingard is, you know, he has a lot of energy, Lingard. And he does put a performance out on the field. For most games, there's 9 out of 10 games, I'd say Lingard would be on the ball and he would put a good performance in for you. But just looking at some of the stuff here, Mourinho said after the game, before the game, the City game was a big one, and a defeat does not help in your recovery. Victories help, defeats don't. Bournemouth were difficult opponents and difficult conditions. If we had scored a second, it might have been a calm night for us. I'm pleased with the 3 points. They had 1 more day's rest than us. They were fresh than us. They're mentally fresher because a big match takes more from our players. The title race is only over in May. If it's over now, I go on holiday to Brazil or Los Angeles. There are a couple of chances we missed. Rashford, he had a very close chance to hit the crossbar. Martial did miss from 6 yards. De Gea had a good performance. He actually got man of the match. It shows here. You know, he had a couple of good saves, but it was sluggish. It was a sluggish match from Manchester United yesterday. You know, we're missing that creativity again. We seem to get it to the midfield and it just kind of stops. And, you know, Matic doesn't want to take it forward. He's passing it sideways and passing it sideways, backwards. And we don't get enough creativity, even when we're on the break, which was very hard against Bournemouth yesterday, because we know they're going to have a lot of men behind the ball to try and get a 0-0 or a 1-1, you know, and they put themselves up for it later on. You know, it was tough. It was a tough game. And, you know, 3 points is 3 points, all retrospect and all that. But, you know, Lukaku, he was... The problem is with Lukaku, he's come from a team like Everton, and he's got to settle into being that pivotal man that people are relying on. People were very sceptical of buying Lukaku, and I'm sticking with him. I think he will be a fairly good player. But obviously we know that the 40-game unbeaten run was ended by Man City last weekend. We were second best for most of the match, this says here on the report, and just had 2 shots on target as Mourinho maintained his record of not losing in consecutive games at home as a manager. Frontman Lukaku bore the brunt of the criticism for the 2-1 defeat by City, but he claimed the only goal this match and his 14th of the season by rising above former Chelsea teammate Nathan Ake and planting a header past the goalkeeper Asmir Begovic. However, Bournemouth were left questioning whether the goal should have stood as Anthony Martial collided with Adam Smith in the lead-up. Lukaku could have added to his tally but had an effort pushed away by Begovic, and Martial lashed over the follow-up from 6 yards out. Despite the sluggish showing, the performances of defender Luke Shaw and midfielder Scott McTominay will be pleasing to Mourinho and the supporters. Shaw, given his first league start in 7 months, looked fit and sharp, contributing to 3 tackles and gaining the ball back 6 times in the match. McTominay was neat in the possession and had a 91.7% pass accuracy from his 47 passes. Mourinho added, "I'm not saying he is the first or second choice, Shaw is an option. His history is an incredible injury and more surgery at the end of last season." I'm not sure how that makes any sense. But he needs competitive matches. We gave him that, and he had some cramps, so we had to change him. The standing ovation for him, I liked. It helps the player. We want to see, as fans, we want to see Luke Shaw playing. We've been asking it for a couple of times. I asked it in the City game. Where was Luke Shaw? Maybe fitness is an issue for him. And we have to build him back up slowly. We can't just go ahead, throw him in, week out. He's not at that stage of his recovery yet. He does need to get back. But maybe the performance today from Luke Shaw, we've just forgotten how it feels like to have an actual first team left back and an actual left back in the team. Because we've been getting through with Darmian, we've been getting through with Blint, we've been getting through with Rojo, Ashley Young. It's been tricky for us with the left back. We've only really had one actual left back in the team, and that's Luke Shaw, and unfortunately he's had quite a few injuries. If he hadn't got that injury in the Champions League under the second season of Louis van Gaal, he probably would be a very good first team player. But having that year off, it hit him, and then he had another injury. He is injury prone, but you got players like Gareth Bale playing at Real Madrid, and he's injury prone, and he's worth millions. So, it's just one of them things, I guess. In terms of Bournemouth continued their inconsistent season and have now failed to win their last 5 games in the top flight. The result leaves the South Coast side just 2 points above the relegation zone. It does not get any easy for Eddie Howe's side, coming up against Liverpool, Chelsea and Manchester United in their next League and EFL Cup games. There are no points to show for it, but they buoyed by their performance in the wet and windy conditions in the northwest, keeping home goalkeeper De Gea busy throughout and calling the Spaniard into making 7 saves in the match. Good performance from De Gea there. Fullback Charlie Daniels could have netted in the opening period, but his low drive from a weaving run was tipped to safety by De Gea, who also kept out Junior Stanislas's deflective drive. Jermaine Defoe was sent on to try and find the breakthrough, but the striker was twice thwarted by De Gea, spinning and fizzing on a shot straight at the United number 1 on both occasions. Ho stated, "I'm very disappointed. I thought we were excellent. We created opportunities. Our defensive shape was very good, and we deserved a lot more today." They might have deserved a little bit more, but it's not the end of the world. Bournemouth, they could have done better, but they could have done a lot worse. So now we're going to be moving on to an analysis. It was actually done by Alan Shearer last night on Match Today, and he said, "Unless there is something that we are unaware of, it was a very surprising lack of reaction from Lukaku to his goal. Maybe that was in answer to the criticism that he has been receiving. It was only his second Premier League goal in 10 games. I said something negative about him at the weekend, that he has to show more, but when you score, that is the perfect answer. That is why I was surprised he did not run away, smile or put his arm in the air. It is such a fantastic feeling when you score goals, particularly the winning ones." And that was something that I was maybe a little bit you know, it was a bit strange. You know, he's been under this massive criticism, Lukaku, for weeks now, maybe even spreading into 2 months. And you know, it was you know, we paid £75 million for him, and it was something that, you know, was very sceptical of a lot of people. They were saying, is he worth the £75 million? In terms of as his shooting and striking ability, you know, I'd say as a forward, he is a very technically gifted player. But, you know, he does require some, what can you say? He requires some sort of, you need to give him the ball to be able to him to score. You know, you can't just keep punting it up to him and hoping that he's going to get ahead on it, because he might. That's not really the play style that we've seen him thrive at his best. You know, when he was at Everton, West Brom, them couple of years, you know, that was when he was at his best. And hopefully we'll be able to see that form come through to him soon. You know, he's still trying to adapt to the way that we play here in Manchester United. You know, Everton and Manchester United are two completely different clubs. They do play two completely different ways. Yes, he had a very good, promising start to the season. But with all good players, you know, Pogba had a very good start to the season. Then he had to try and find his feet. But now this season, he's on fire. And unfortunately, yes, he had the injury. And yes, he's on a 3-match ban. But I'm sure when he comes back, you know, he's a pivotal player for the team. But there is having a look what else here. Danny Murphy said he was really impressed with Bournemouth. You know, it's nice to have a go, and they did have a go, Bournemouth, yesterday. So that is a huge congratulations to them. Only conceding 1 goal away from home at Old Trafford. You know, a lot of fans were expecting United to put a couple of goals in the net last night, but it didn't happen. But we still get the 3 points. You know. But the next game we have is against West Brom on Sunday. That kicks off at 2:15, and Bournemouth have a game at Liverpool. So yeah, hopefully we can get a bit of a winning run going on. You know, we do very well. You know, we have played very well this season, and hopefully we will get the 3 points then. But that is going to be it for this one then, guys. Make sure, if you did enjoy, to drop a like to show some support. Leave a comment or in the poll, which will be up in the top right. There is a little bit of a poll today. The question is Lukaku worth the 75 million price tag that we paid for him? Let me know. Either yes, no, an explanation. You know, you can't explain with the poll, but you can still say yes or no, which is nice. You know, it's nice to get involved. Get involved with the videos. Let's have a discussion. Because there are times where, you know, there are things that some people may agree with. Some people may say, yeah, Lukaku's worth all the money. And then people will say, well, maybe he's not. But, you know, go and let me know in the comment section or in the poll up in the top right-hand side of your screen. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and don't forget to share the video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.